Okay, welcome to the Podbean tutorial. Hopefully you've got your audio cut and edited. I do have that completed. So the first thing you're going to do is obviously go to Podbean. So this is what the main page is going to look like when you open it up. It's going to look a little different if you haven't already set up the paid account. It's just a little simpler. Some of the insights especially are just default template images. But I think you're going to find this pretty easy. I'm going to go here to publish, new episode. Choose file. Now you can do select from account if it's an audio already in there. So say for example you want to upload 2 or 3 of these that were edited and ready to go in the media manager, you can upload here and then you would just select them. In this case we're just going to upload the one that is ready directly. So new episode, choose file. Okay, so the file is now in there. I'm going to start here right on the left. Choose image. Now you've got some options in here, and I have already loaded up some images for you. This, for example, is a regular segment on the Eagle Morning Show. Sarah Wassinger is the president and CEO of the Board of Commerce. Now this is a square, so you want to make sure your images are square, just like you would on the post, because if not, it's going to do a horrible stretch. Let me pull an example and show you here. Like that. It's going to look awful. So make sure you've edited them correctly before you upload them. I'm just trying to find, there it is. Okay, so the title will just be like a headline. Okay, so I like that. Now, for the intro on the podcast, there is text that I use. I copy it into this as well as put it there. So you can see this is what the intro for the podcast would read. This is just one version of it, and I didn't type this in. I read it directly after the interview, but we're going to just go ahead and do this. Now, you'll notice this is an updates from the post. You probably saw that in the file list as well. That's just what we call the segment. We have several in there, and those images are loaded into your thing already if they make sense for your post site. So on this edition of Updates from the Post, Hayes Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Sarah Wassing joins Mike Kerner to talk about organizational staff changes. And these are going to be publicly visible. So you want to make sure your spelling and everything is correct. K-O-R-N-E-R. K-O-E-R-N-E-R. Plug that in there. Okay, now on this side, you've got some options where you can link these up to your social media accounts. I would not, because you want it to go to the post site, not social media first, at least not for the first go around. You can always tag and edit it up there later. You're going to be limited to 200 tags on here. Now, these are very important that you actually put tags on your podcast, or they're not going to be searchable. So you're just going to find the appropriate ones. Now, you'll see a lot of duplicates in here. Once you have them in here, you just select them. You do not have to duplicate them. That was an early mistake I made and just have not yet cleaned it up. So the more tags you have, the better. You are going to be limited to 200 separate tags. So as you're building them initially, kind of keep that in mind. You will have a limit. Okay, that looks like all the ones I would need. So from there, I'm just going to hit publish. Okay, this is going to bring you to the embed page. So if you're going to embed this into another post, the rectangle works. It's going to be auto. The resolution changes, the size of it fits the post, so it looks good on mobile and on desktop. In this case, this is going to be a standalone post, so we're going to make it square. I always just make the color eagle blue. Yes.
Welcome to the Post Podcast. I'm James Bell.
Because I turned on the autoplay. Now, if you go into here, kind of the same deal. Blue, and I always hit button color white, just because I think it looks best, but whatever. I'm going to take that widget code. Go into Hayes Post, or your post. Okay, now we have a category for these, post podcast, and the reason I'm going to pull up an old one, I'm going to pull some text out of just one of the last ones that were on here. Specifically, in this case, UFC, to find out more
Welcome
about
to the Post Podcast.
So I want that tag. We put this in every one. That's going to go to your About Us page on your post site. We put one of these a day in our local feed, so we hit local, and then we're also going to put it in the podcast column or category. Now, again, you've got the images for the generic kind of different categories, but it plays a lot better if you use actual images. This is being slow, but it's loading. There you go. So you'll see this one. We could put that one on there. I'm going to go ahead and just use Sarah's picture again. I'm going to use a different picture. Probably use this one. Change the author here to just a generic Hayes Post. copy in that text for the more. See, that's a link. Go back, pull that embed code. Now you'll notice up here there's a download link. You don't want that, you want the embed code, just like you were embedding video from YouTube or Vimeo or whatever. So on the headline, I always put this on here first so people know what they're listening to or what's coming up. You see it's a slightly different headline than what I used for the other thing. That's fine. Staffing. Okay, publish. You'll see it there. All right, then we're going to put this in the Facebook. So we're grabbing that embed code from the post. And that's it. Call me if you have any questions. Enjoy.